Guys, welcome back to a brand new edition. We've got a great brand new episode today. Very excited about today's show. Firstly, before I go into about today's show, I want to apologize for not being live over the last few days. I've been celebrating the FA Cup, but today we have a very, very big show. We're going to discuss so much, digest so much, look at the next 7 days, which are going to be hugely crucial for Manchester United. And on today's show is a live stream with a very special guest, a friend of mine. You can watching him. You're watching us on his channel as well. Let me introduce you to the one and only Mr. Mick Ruby from MUFC Realist TV. Mick, welcome.
Forza United. Yeah,
How are you? How are you?
I'm absolutely swell. Thank you for asking. And it's been a hot minute. Of course, we've been celebrating this FA Cup victory party like in 1999. But I understand you've been in Dubai and Abu Dhabi traveling. So finally, we get together, my friend. Yeah,
Yes,
it's been a
we've
lot
been
of
getting
things going on.
together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You were doing some great work. Other creators were doing great work after the FA Cup win. So I was just digesting it all in, taking it all in, and I thought we'll do something special in the week where we can, you know, analyze things a bit differently, take a step back. And in today's show, what our plan is, we're gonna analyze the current the current manager situation. We're going to look at the view of the whole season and the setup of Ten Hag and how he set the team up. Would it be better if Man United did not play in Europe? Realistic ingoings and outgoings, and
Mm.
any other questions that we'll take in the comments as
Yeah,
well.
the Q&As. Yeah.
And if you are new, if you've not subscribed to Mick's channel or my channel, please drop a subscribe. Get involved in the comments. It's going to be a big show. We're co-streaming this and live streaming this across all the major
Cool.
platforms. We want everyone to get involved in this. Mick,
Get to
before
work.
we go into the questions, how was the FA Cup for you? How did
Yeah,
you
look,
digest
I'm
it?
pulling up my collar like Cantona. So it's all good. Pull it up. How was it? To be honest, nobody expected us. We were the underdogs, but this is the bittersweet symphony. Against all odds, we rose to the challenge based on all the leaks that came out from Jacob Steinberg that Ten Hag is going to get sacked and all that stuff. We absolutely dominated Pep Guardiola and City. They didn't know what was hitting them, to be honest. Even they did substitutions to take out De Bruyne. And they tried all different solutions, even throwing in Doku, released from his Doku station. You know what I mean? He managed to score one, but they didn't have answers. At the end of the day, you can't undermine this team performance. You can't undermine the fighting spirit. You can't undermine that the crowd was there cheering it on, for Ten Hag and the boys, and they turned up. And that was the most important thing because the season has been, up and down with injuries and off the field issues, and we needed this victory. We needed this trophy, and this changed the whole mood within the entire fan base, right? So if you've seen polling, how it's polling right now, 80% or 85% are for Ten Hag to stay, So this changed everything. I'm
Yeah,
still I'm still on cloud seven, to be honest. I'm still rewatching the game and the moments and the ceremony, and oh my god, it feels like we won the treble '99.
absolutely. It was a great day out. I felt it was a great performance. It reminded me very much of a pre-COVID Ole Gunnar Solskjaer against Man City, where hitting him on the counter, fast
Yeah.
wingers, getting in
Yes.
behind. It was a great game. Man United played very well, limited City to very minimal, hence why they made the changes. And one thing the media will not mention is Jack Grealish not getting
Yeah.
a sniff of the game,
Yep. Yep.
considering he's a £100 million player. But it was a good game. It was a good game. It's been
Yep.
analysed. Mick's done some great work on it. There are great videos on Mick's channel. Go and check them out.
Thank you.
I think on today's show, what we want to look at is the current situation overall. We're coming into quite a crucial period, and in the football world, it's probably known as the most critical period in football. So from let's start with Mick, the current manager situation, and it's a hot topic because until Ineos make a decision one way or either backing him or sacking him, this will stay a hot topic because of the noise around it. What's your current feeling regarding the current manager situation?
I did a massive podcast about this yesterday. So first and foremost, big up for everyone that's tuning in. You know, Ten Hag in is here, Ollie's here. You know, the Voganator, Eric Ten Hag in, Mark is here. It's like a lot of legends in the chat as well. We did a massive podcast regarding this, and of course, we've got to talk about the end of the season review. But you know, media first and foremost, we've got to start with the media, right? They've been basically zooming in on Ten Hag and, you know, on a witch hunt ever since February, I believe so, ever since this takeover, right? So it's been more of a media agenda, right? Let's just say that the end of the season review is everything that's been done from Dale Brailsford. He's been there appointed to be the smiling assassin. So basically, looking at, you know, the staff, interviewing a lot of players, Cantina, Kathy, everyone, and of course, you know, you've seen that they're going to do redundancy. So it's all about financials and budgets, you know, and also, you know, assessing what went wrong this season with the medical department, the injuries, the off the field issues, the on pitch issues, and stuff like that. Everything is taken in consideration, right? So that's why you have all the board members being gathered, like, you know, including the Glazers, because everything needs to be voted through, right? But media was kind of focused in knowing that this was only about Eric Ten Hag's review, which was already been taking place. So I think that, of course, I said it yesterday, and this is towards the sources that I've been speaking to, and it looks like 75% that they're going to stick with manager at the moment because it's got some financial implications to it as well. And there is no other manager better out there that is actually marginal percentage better than Ten Hag that could lead us forward in this project. This is what I've been hearing. There's three kind of backing him, championing him, and that is Omar Barada, that is Jean-Claude Blanc, and that is Jason Wilcox as well. And then you have Dale Brailsford, that is, of course, being appointed to be the trusted man of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who is not really involved. He's, of course, the investor, the chairman, you know what I mean? But he's trusting his advisors. So the rumors, what you heard about Southgate, Potter, the English McKenna, and stuff like that, that came all from Brailsford. But the other ones that have footballing knowledge said, no, 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 no. You don't understand football. He's the guy. He's the guy. So, barring what I'm hearing, barring that there's short time of, you know, we have 2 weeks left of the transfer window, they're planning with him. Ten Hag's told the truth. Ten Hag, if he would known he would be sacked, he would be, you know, speaking to Bayern or any other club or Ajax. So he was only focused as per performance management, what he was given. You know, you win the FA Cup, this changes everything because that's 75 million in the bank for us in terms of revenue and what we can do in the summer, which totally increased the overall spend, what we can do, about 260 million pounds now without even selling. So a lot of things has been reviewed. I even did a tweet about it, and I guess at the end of the day they will do a report and everything will be disclosed in a statement, or what you usually find on the Manchester United website as per usual, right? So it's not got nothing to do with the overall manager review, what everyone been saying led to believe in the media.
Mick, let me give you an what I feel on this is
Yeah, I'd
that,
love to hear you.
firstly, it was a fantastic display on Sunday, Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, yeah. What has to be done is the whole season has to be analyzed and not just one game, because I would be very worried if Ineos decided to keep him based on one game. I think that would be a very bad way of analyzing, and the previous 6 months of this and that would be irrelevant. I think you're right. The decision where they either, when we say back him, they either have to say he's our guy for the next 3 years. There you goes a new contract. Here we go. We're gonna go
They
with
will
you.
not do that. Hmm.
Or they have to then say we don't really see you taking us forward over the next 3 years and move in a different way. I think
Okay.
the fan base naturally are very emotional, and which all fan bases are, including myself, where you start thinking, you know what, he's good enough, or this player is like Anthony Martial is a prime example. We think he's no good, then he turns up, he scores a couple of goals, think, oh my god, this guy is the best. It has to be, the decision has to be based on the findings of um, mostly Brailsford and then Wilcox on training methods, XYZ, what's been going on. But the most important thing is, like you have just said, is they should back him one way, or is there a better replacement they feel who can take the club forward?
Yeah. And coming back to what you just said, just to be the devil's advocate, the season was already written off in January, if you didn't notice, because he wasn't even back then to even get loans, right? Because they were speaking about we are so focused on the takeover, we focus on the new structure. So he's been basically swimming alone without any support, right? So the feeling that I got and the discussion that I had is that taking the whole season in consideration, when you're talking about on the field, is all the injuries. Is that Ten Hag's fault? No, it's not. Is that medical's fault? Yes, it is, right? You have 46 types of injuries. Then you look at the off the field issues, the scandals regarding Greenwood. We know what happened with Greenwood in the internal investigation, what really happened there. They looked at that as well. They looked at the Anthony allegations as well. They looked at the Belfast baby incident as well with Rashford and everything. And they assessed it. Is it Ten Hag's fault? No. I mean, he's not their agent or the manager. So actually, the agent is responsible for the individual player, right? The club managed a squad in title, right? And yes, and then what he's been saying, like, you need to have a full field squad in order to sort of, you know, be competitive, which we really, really, really haven't, right? And then you can compare to Newcastle as well, which was injury struck as well, and they finished on the same eighth, but a little bit more of goal difference. So everything is being assessed. Of course, if you look at in general, like, 2 trophies and 3 finals in 2 years, that's a good result. A one bad season doesn't tell you that, hey, you can't do it. And then, of course, you saw when he got his players back, won 3 games in a row, and we came to the FA Cup and beat City. So the overall mood changed based on the fan opinion as well and the protest, because they noticed that, majority of the fans, and they're listening to the fans, backs Ten Hag. They've been looking at different pollings and stuff like that. So they're not going to be mugs. And then on the financial implication, of course, you got to assess like how much it's going to cost us to sack the manager, how much it's going to cost us to bring it in. There's simply not, liable at the moment, right? Especially when especially when he's been part of the planning, the recruitment, and all of a sudden he's going to be accountable. He's going to have people above him that he needs to report to. So basically, his power is going to go away. He's going to have a little bit of say in the transfer window. I need a left back of this character. It's them job to find it. You know what I mean? Because every position and a manager needs a succession planning. So that comes back to what you said. They're not going to offer him a new contract because this is a performance review. They might come and say, okay, we will back you. And in December, if things go well, we can discuss a new contract extension for 3 years extension, but they're not going to do it now. And the reason per se, because not everyone is in place as of yet. There's 2 people that hasn't really joined. They're still on garden leave.
You know, I love mixed enthusiasm on this. I think,
No. It's just
I
basically
think,
things what British media
yeah. So
and
the
general
whole
media
point,
doesn't want to disclose because they're only one-sided basically, and that is the agenda to disrupt Manchester United to become a winning force. Because let's face it, this destroyed a lot of childhoods as well, right? So
yeah, I think, Mick, in my opinion, and the reason I wanted to do this was because me and you have such opposite opinions on this matter, and I think it's a really good conversation to have around this. I think they've not backed him publicly when they could have done for a long
no,
time, and they
no,
haven't done that. And I think that was a worrying sign for him.
yeah,
Secondly, one thing that goes under the radar, and me and you have discussed this, I think we're the only ones that have really discussed this, is that will Ten Hag want to give up powers, right? As in, he has a veto on transfers. He will he take a lower role as a coach? And thirdly, the most obvious thing what everyone's missing is if they wanted Ten Hag to stay, they wouldn't be speaking to other managers. It would have been a very straightforward
okay.
conversation to have.
That's 2 points here. First and foremost, they must have had this conversation with Ten Hag. If you're going to continue, this is the game plan, what we're going to do. You're going to have
Mm.
some form of veto in the transfer, but you're going to be relinquished all the power they used to have. Now, remember the structure before. He didn't have anyone above. We're talking about John Murtagh that was sacked because of some corruption allegations and stuff like that. Um, and the CEO was also sacked because of certain reasons. So he was left alone, right? But 100%, he said it in interviews as well, like, this is the biggest club in the world. You can't not do everything by yourself. You need help. You need to have people on the same page. So I believe that he will be just happy just to take a head coach role, and focus just to develop the style, I imagine he's been dealing with all the PR stuff and gash, and he's been haunted for 2 years, right? Dealing with all these scandals and what media's been writing, and they've been haunting him, right? So all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if they back him, as a matter of fact, he was out at the door days truth on Thursday, and that was actually the truth, because it happened to be that all of a sudden, De Serbi became available in short notice, Pochettino became available in short notice, and the, succession plan in Kieran McKenna, that was actually Brailsford's push, became available. But they had conversations with McKenna, and McKenna is signing a new long-term contract with Ipswich with a release clause. So that's what I'm saying. So they will stick with Ten Hag, as per my understanding. And if that doesn't go well, they will not renew his contract until December, right? If things goes well, then there's no need of doing a succession. Otherwise, what we discussed on this channel so many times, there are so many better managers that are available in 2025, but not at this moment, because the board has looked at it. They say there's no other manager out there in the market that could lead us forward in this project. Ten Hag understands. He's been doing this for 2 years on a cultural rebuild. We are on the right track. We've been promoting youth. He's got a finger in the pie on it, and we're going to continue playing youth, right? So that is a key component into it, right? If you then appoint, let's say, a Thomas Tuchel, you will stop the development of youth, of Colliers, of all these Amas, and Pochettino is not the guy either, right? So the only one that could work was De Serbi in a way, but arguably not.
I think one way or the other way, we need an answer, right? Whether
We will
if
have an
he's the man,
answer.
if he's the man, all fans will be behind him, and if he's not the man, as whatever decision is made on, as long as there's a good reasoning behind it, because some of the performances make, even that Palace game, bloody hell, I'm surprised he survived the Coventry game, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
But
they
if he
were.
will be sacked, he will be sacked after Arsenal game. But there was a reason why Wilcox was there to help him out, and to also be the shadow overcoat and the report back, and he's been vouched as well. So he said also to the board that he understands football. So the footballing people have spoken, he's the guy. Of course, they spoke to McKenna because McKenna is a young, prospecting, up and coming coach. But is he ready yet? He's not ready. Because Manchester United is the biggest club in the world. To manage Ipswich, yeah, of course, he understands the culture, he understands the politics, but it's too soon, too early for McKenna. Maybe in the future.
I don't think McKenna is the answer. I'm not.
He
This.
doesn't even play possession-based football.
Yeah, but this fascination that suddenly championship managers are good enough to manage top clubs is beyond me. Like how we've got to this stage, you know, the the leap from going from championship to the top six, top five, top four club
Mm-mm.
is too big. Not just because, forget the stylistic approach, it's trying to handle bigger players. And Nagelsmann struggled with this at Bayern. And yeah, sorry, go on, mate.
Yeah, yeah, no, go on, because
Yeah,
something popped
so
in my mind.
Nagelsmann struggled with this at Bayern. You know that jump of a big club with big players who suddenly start to question you is very different to managing Ipswich or even Leicester. Chelsea will find this out as well. So I think McKenna is not the answer currently, in my
No, he's
opinion,
not.
anyway.
And it's kind of weird what's going on in the footballing world. You see everyone is going for the new model. They want to appoint the up and coming manager, like the lesser experience. You look the shock of Vincent Company. They got relegated with with Burnley, got the biggest job in the world almost, right? And you see Enzo Maresca as well, from Leicester, getting the Chelsea job as well. So all the dots are falling, right? So all of a sudden there's no coach available, right? But I want to bring something to the point as well, because a lot of people saying, well, Ten Hag's recruitment, he spent 95 million on Anthony. Well, listen, he won Ten Hag that was negotiating. Ten Hag doesn't make the deals, right? So it's actually John Murtaugh and Matt Hargreaves and Matt Judge that was doing the deals, right? So there was apparently some allegations with Ajax and SCG, right, that they also looked at internally because there was some corruption scandals. They were linking his son that was working, Nigel van Haga, so that was working for SAG as well. So that stemmed over also to Manchester United. So question was also, we used SAG in the last summer window for Rasmus Højlund, Anthony Dos Santos as well was used, and somebody else. I think even Onana. Like, and then we overpaid, massively overpaid. So there was internal investigations. Like, did you have any part of it? Which were proven because he hadn't. He didn't have. Because if that was the truth, Manchester United would have faced a transfer ban. You understand it? So that is it's just it's so complicated because if you're a new investor, you don't want to face a transfer ban. But now you're facing another issue, Bilal, as well, and that is Europa League, right? Because all of a sudden, Trollus Limited or Ineos owns Nice. Nice finished fifth, got Europa League. We won the FA Cup, got Europa League. But apparently, they have a deadline to Monday to reply to make it sure that we will remain in Europa League. There is no conflict of interest. There's a lot of things for them to handle at the moment. So to sack a manager in the middle of this, plus you'd also need to resolve the Mason Greenwood situation as well, which is another can of worms of PR disaster.
Yeah, I'm just absolutely, absolutely. I'm just looking at some of the comments here as well. I think they need to move quick in the market, which we'll come to in a minute. My personal stance, just to be clear, because I'm not the type to sit on the fence, I think they should make a change, whether that's Pochettino, De Zerbi, or Tuchel. But if they back him, I will 100% get behind him. And whatever the decision is, we can't keep in lingering because they need to make a decision so the media noise goes away from this, in my opinion.
But let me just be something clear. He was going on Thursday. They made a decision, but something changed. He won the FA Cup and the fan pressure as well. So to upset the Apple Card, the paying customers would be very disastrous, right? So they're taking everything in consideration. So something changed. Otherwise, they were taking a decision. Fine, you won the FA Cup. Let's do Louis van Gaal. The next day, boom. And that's why, that is why. So at the moment, they are voting. They are contemplating everything: finances, performance review, who is leaving. I mean, we're talking about. I think they're going to get rid of like redundant, 30% of the staff there, overinflated. So it's not just about the manager; it's the overall season review. Everyone that is involved in the footballing operations.
Yeah, I think from a
So
staffing point of view,
yeah,
with
I mean,
even to the
absolutely shambles. At least you can come out on Monday and say, pull the trigger. We're going with another one. Let's not dilly dally. Then you see that Kieran McKenna is no longer interested because obviously they made a decision. They told Kieran, thank you, we've spoken to you, but yeah, we're not going to go with you right now. So why are they not communicating? And this is something what you and me always is saying. The proof will be in the pudding, right?
yeah, the proof will be in the pudding. Yeah, whichever way they go, I think they need to make a decision. We can't keep going into next week, the week after, and I'm sure Ten Hag would want clarity as well because I think it's not fair on him if they keep interviewing people and keep saying to him as well that we want
But
you
it's not fair against the fans as well.
100%.
Like, why are you keeping us hanging around? There's one thing that we are missing from the Glazers here is pure communication to the fan base. You cannot be like this bloody Glazers 2.0 because let's face it, we are monitoring everything, every move that you do. So far, it's been positive PR saying, yes, we're going to get the best in class new structure, Omar Brada, sporting director, technical director, everything. But it comes down to the manager. I mean, let's face it, these people are not even in place yet. They're still on garden leave. They're coming in the middle of the summer, right? There's a lot of things to be handled at the moment, plus the Greenwood situation as well. So they have a massive task. But one thing you fucking can do is to communicate to your customers, right? And this is one thing that we lacked for 18 years. No communications, right?
Yeah, yeah. The communication. I think the problem is what you just mentioned regarding communication is the people that um that are supposed to be communicating with us are not in the job yet. So I think once everybody's settled in, I think we'll get progress on this. Mick, I want to move the conversation on slightly.
Yeah, I mean, I see a comment that somebody said here, Ole, so Ten Hag is the worst in class. You
Oh,
tell me,
I
it's
don't agree
your
with that either.
opinion, mate. It's fine, but you tell me who is best in class right now that's available. I can't name anyone. Poch is not the answer. Tuchel doesn't fit in the culture, ethics. You know, I just don't see it. I don't see it. So if we look at 2025, you will have Enzo Fernandez. I mean, when it's Javi Alonso available, you will have a lot of good coaches, elite coaches available, right? So whatever you've been fueled
Yeah,
by the media and the headlines, they want you to have the sack. But it's the same fucking playbook that's been going on for the past 11 years since Fergie left. So
yeah, I think absolutely, and I think hopefully we'll get clarification on this because what I don't want to do is I don't want to make the whole thing just purely manager, manager,
no, no,
manager.
no, no,
Let's
no.
let's
Let's
one
move
thing.
on because
Let's,
eventually this will be announced. It will be. There's nothing we can do about it.
yeah,
It is what it is. Can change like the weather. So, and let's just enjoy the FA Cup victory. Still
absolutely, Mick.
celebrating.
One thing I wanted to kind of put out there was: would it be better for Man United not to play in Europe next season? Meaning, ideally, would it have been better if we didn't play Europe because it would have given us more time to implement coaching? We would have been able to work with a smaller squad. Do you think that would have been a better option?
No, first I said yes, but that question is multifaceted. First and foremost, it's good to play multiple games. It gives a lot of players chances to develop and play. In Europa League or Conference League, you can play the youth, you can play the kids, right? On the other hand, if we didn't make Europa League, that would be great because that means that you can focus more on the domestic league, which I definitely wanted, right? Just focus on the cup, develop your style, develop your youth, whatever you're going to play. But now, I don't know, man. And on the other hand, we need the revenues if we're in Europe. Like 75 million in the coffers goes to the transfer window anyway, in terms of TV rights and stuff like that. So you got to look at it that way. So it's multifaceted. Like, do we need it? Yes, we need Europe, right? Because we know the financial situation. On the other hand, should we just focus on building the squad properly? Yeah. But again, players, they thrive on playing more games than just playing once a week. Did it help Chelsea or Spurs last season? They only played one game a week. No, it didn't. Right?
Mm. I think I think the problem we have is just because it's just come to me. I saw the Carlo Ancelotti quote this morning saying that really people are too
Ugh,
fascinated with styles of play. Reason being, um, if you have a style of play which is quite like De Zerbi, he didn't say De Zerbi, but I'm using De Zerbi as an example. Teams can figure you out quite easily. And he
yeah,
goes, you shouldn't have too much of a style of play where you're not adaptable enough. And I quite agree with that. And he's a
I
very
agree.
successful manager. I remember him managing in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s as well at Juventus, and he's been around a long time.
Yeah.
It's,
But
sorry for maybe adding.
to the defense, Bilal, the past four games what we've seen after the Arsenal game, we've seen an adaptation. We've seen a 4-2-2-2 shift into 4-2-2, 4-2, a 4-2-2, like a 4-4-2. In rest defense, it's been like in a different formation. So the tactics have changed. You can say, definitely. You've been setting up a low block, a mid block. We've been flooding the defense, playing with the, false number 9 and stuff. So that it's kind of proven that this guy has it in his locker, right? But I agree what Carlo Ancelotti is saying, and this is something what I would say that De Zerbi is good at because De Zerbi studies the game like on his free time and studies different styles, different managers, and adapts to it, right? We shouldn't go in and play the same formation every single game because you get find out, like Klopp was, or like Pep Guardiola. You should change up depending on who you're playing. So if you're playing a low block, for instance, you don't need to play you can play with 3 in the back, right? And go more offensive.
I think something where it changed was against Arsenal. We changed tactics, which helped a lot, and then we kind of carried on them tactics. But I think Amrabat coming in and getting a run of games helped a lot.
Oh,
Against
100%.
City in the final, he covered a lot of space. Against Brighton, he was a bit hit and miss, but I saw his interview after the game, and he was saying that he needs a run of games, and I actually agree. He needs
Yeah,
a run of
everyone
games. I'm
knows.
not saying
Yeah.
he's a starter in every game, but I think he made a difference tactically. But from the Arsenal game, and I messaged you I was saying I watched it in midair, which was crazy in the plane, the game, and what I realized was we were more compact, but I feel it was too little, too late. We should have been making these maybe from January onwards, but um, like you said, we don't know what conversations have been had behind closed doors. But regarding Europe, I think, in my opinion, missing Europe for a season would not have been bad. Just gives us a chance to kind of reset everything and move forward on that. Um,
Yeah. No, as I said, it's multifaceted. Like, can have two answers, but from a revenue perspective, we need it. From a playing form perspective, 100%. That means that you can play more games. But from a league perspective, yes, you know. But then again, you can look at what did it help Chelsea? Did it help Spurs? Did it help them to become better in the league table? No, it didn't. Right.
Coming on to my next question, then let's be realistic, right? Let's have a look at this realistically.
Yeah.
Which players let's forget players for a second. What positions realistically do you think we need to fill? We'll go off positions first, so you might say a right back, left back, whatever, and then
Right.
look at some realistic options.
Yeah. Let's go. All right.
So
We
start
don't
from
need
the goalkeeper.
goalkeeper. Keep. He's
Yep,
becoming better. He just needs a little bit of practice of how to sort of be
save the
diving into
ball.
save the ball. Yeah. Otherwise, he's been good. Like,
Yeah,
he's been
he's
really.
been fine. I think he's got a concentration lapse, but if
Yeah.
he can remove
And I
that, he
also
should be
think
fine.
that you should use Bayanda a little bit more in cups and stuff like that, so we can
I
see
think
what
I've heard
he's
he's
all
going
about.
back to Turkey.
Hmm. Yeah,
He's
cold
a very
turkey.
good keeper. He's a number
Yeah,
one, really. But yeah, so
yeah.
okay, so goalkeeper keep, right back. What's your? I think right back's fine.
Right back is fine. We have Dalot in that position, but it depends on how you're going to play. Get a Dumfries in, or you get a Frimpong as well. Depends on if you're going to play attacking
Frimpong's
stuff.
not in my
No, no, but
opinion,
you
a
can
right
play three
back.
in the back and have Frimpong as bombing forward, like wingers, right? So, right back, we don't have coverage for right back because I think we're going to sell Aaron Wan-Bissaka, so
Yeah, I
Dalot will
think he's
play in
going
that
into
position.
Milan.
Yeah. So we need a right back, 100%. Left back, Luke Shaw, injury prone. We had a lot of debates, but a fit Luke Shaw depends on if you're keeping Rashford. Then that is the radar pair and the kind of
But he's
explanation
never
what
fit. He's not.
he's
He's
never
injured
fit.
every
For me,
season.
I was just surprised that he was even named as an injured player into the
It's
Euros team
funny
as well.
how he's fit for England all the time.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. I say sell him. Malacia, we saw glimpses of proof of life
I
during
thought he
the
was good last year.
yeah. So if Malacia is back, that's good. Obviously, we're looking, as a succession. Like, of course, we sold Fernandez on a release clause, to Benfica for 6 million. So that means that Amas is going to be the understudy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
So
don't need a left back. Right back is questionable. Let's look at the centre back. Right centre back and left centre back.
all right, yeah.
Obviously, I think we need two, three
Varane
players
is
there.
left, which is saddens me 100%. We could have negotiated his contract. Letting go Casemiro would most likely happen. Casemiro was on 18,200,000. So it's all about high wages, and Varane has got so much experience. I would say get rid of Lindelof and Maguire. End of sentiments. I know that Maguire had a good season, but if you're going to win trophies, he's not the guy that would lead the line, and he's not going to start, games week in and week out. And I think he wants to start as well. So if you get 35 million to West Ham, whatever, I think we should sell him. Lindelof to Portugal, whatever, or the Saudi League. Off you go, because right now we are doing a rebuild for title-winning squad, and they are not part of the solution.
You've got
If you're
Evans
going to
as well.
play, if you're going to play high line, Maguire is not your guy, and not even Lindelof either. So there's your answer. So we need three centre backs, 100%. One on the cheap, toss in, I would say, free agent, and get two more. Like, we need a sort of
Todibo.
a Todibo and Anselmo as well, like, a young, Brazilian, and potentially someone more. Like, if you get Tosin for free, there's no money spent. You spend 45 million on Todibo, or Lenny Euro or something like that, or
Mm.
even Lucas
Euro's going
Galvani.
to Madrid, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, or Scalvani, 100%. Like,
Yeah,
we need a.
There's Branthwaite, but I
I,
don't rate
I
him at
don't
all. I don't
really
see a
rate
crack
him.
on
I
him.
just this is a lot of media speculations, and the fuckers, they want, like, 70 million for him, and I don't see us spending that money. And
He's
he
never
is
played
just, for
Champions.
me,
He's never played Europe.
He's just a Maguire 2.0. Don't do that. Don't do that Brexit thing, right? Just because he's English, right? Don't do it. Better players in that position, right?
Would you keep
Um,
Evans, Mick, for another season?
no, I wouldn't. He's been a champion, but he needs the rest. I will keep him as a coach, 100%. Maybe I
Okay,
will keep him as a fifth choice, like to come in or fourth choice. As a
okay.
think.
Let's look at midfield then, right? So I think the outgoings on midfield will be Ericsson, Casemiro. Um,
Gone.
I don't know about Scott McTominay. McTominay, I think they like him as a second off the bench kind of impact kind of
They
player.
like him because he's such an ambassador for the club, right? He's got the right mentality, he's got the DNA, but he's not the most gifted player, right? So if they keep him, they probably keep him just to come off the bench. But will he win us titles? I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, but I think it's too much. I can't see us getting rid of like 15 players in one window either.
Okay.
Um, I think who would you bring in then? So let's just say we had two outgoings of Casemiro and Ericsson. Who would
Yeah.
you like to bring in?
I like to keep Amrabat because that's a cheap option for 13 million pounds. Pay that
He's a
release
very good
clause.
player if you can get him, give
Yeah,
him
yeah,
release.
but he's proven with the run of games, and in matter of fact, I would say he's been the catalyst in how we've been playing. Basically, he's been the glue, gluing the midfield, gluing that attacking line and the defense, shielding the defense, and allowing Kobe Maino to play the Kobe Maino best role. Right, so that's been Amrabat, like the destroyer. I call him Amra Tank, by the way. Okay, he's not a baller, he's not technical, he's a little bit tanky when he turns the run, but he's effective, right? And for
Mm.
that price, it's a steal for a number 6 position. And then we need to recruit in another number 6, or obviously they're going to bring in Collier from the youth academy settings. Like
There's
that will
Amadou.
be
There's Amadou Onana they've looked at from Everton
yeah, yeah. Amadou Onana, or they also looked at the French player. What's his name?
or Fofana.
Fofana as well.
Fofa,
So
yeah, I
So we
think
need two midfielders. My answer to you: we need two midfielders. We need to replace. We need a good box to box engine, a number 8 as well, right? Because you can't play just Kobe Mano all the time, right? You need a
well,
replacement
no,
as well. You
Wilcox is
need to
already
fit.
kicking off over there.
Yeah, you need to keep Amrabat and recruit in another like for like replacement as well as a rotational number 6 as well. So you got to have two players for each position for a squad depth.
And do you think, from a forward line point of view, then I think right wing we would have
We're good there.
Garnacho. I think
Ahmad
we need a right winger. Sorry, a right winger we need, and I think from a right wing aspect, Sancho, because he plays right wing for Dortmund when he said he could never play
is
right wing for
gone.
United. Sancho, Anthony, Palestra,
Gone.
and Greenwood. Unless I miss
We
someone,
have too many wingers.
they need to
Regarding,
be gone.
listen, Olisi we were heavily linked to, but he's also linked to Chelsea. We don't need Olisi. We are stocked in the winger area, right? We are pretty much stocked and good. You give Ahmad a run of games, we see what he's all about, 100%. I think we will sell Palistri
Mm.
because he's not favored. I
He's
think
been
so.
around for a long time as well. He
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
get
yeah.
any games. He needs to move
It
on.
doesn't get games. No, I don't think they will sell Rashford. Although they'll be linked to Arsenal and a lot of things. So if an important offer comes into a Rashford, they'll probably take it. But it depends on this. If we're going to play that possession-based football, Rashford doesn't really suit it, right? Can he adapt to play more possession-style football, right? So it's a total rebuild in a way, but I don't think we need to invest in a winger at the moment, right? So we need to get it
But if
like a
we sell
second-hand
them for,
striker.
we only have Ahmad on right wing and Garnacho on left and Rashford if you
Garnacho
keep
can.
him. There's
We've
only
seen that
three.
we've seen that Garnacho can play both right and left, right? Mason Greenwood, from a footballing reason, he got Gaddafi's Player of the Year, and he's coming back for preseason training.
At the
So
moment,
there's
he is, yeah.
question. Yeah. So there's a
At the
question, right?
moment, he is.
What are they going to do about it? So there's something that the club needs to solve as well. So this is what they've been talking about in the end of the season review. I personally say he will be slaughtered by the crowd. They will shout and chant, but as soon as he starts bagging goals from a footballing, he's far much better. Like, he's the best talent that we ever had, right? 2-footed. So I would say from a team perspective and from us winning trophies, I would take him back. Me personally.
Yeah, from from a um, aspect of footballing reasons, he's the most ready-made player we have. Double
Yep.
footed, good in the air, dribble. He's very, very
Yep.
good. Mason Greenwood, but I think
United through and through.
from a value and ethics and morals point of view, I think they can't keep him because of that reason.
But let
Um,
them deal with it. This is
absolutely.
just a small minority at the end of the day. Fans can have an opinion, but if you do a poll, I think the majority say, if we want to win, tell us, bring him back, right? And if they do so, they're going to release what's they've been withholding from the public, because 13 seconds of a clip, but we can't unsee what we unseen, we can't unheard what we have. But it's been targeted deliberately to smear it as well. Because let's face it, they did an internal review within Manchester United and they cleared him innocent. And somebody leaked it out to Athletic. They didn't like it. So I don't know, man. I said keep Greenwood, sell 100% Anthony, because I don't think no, he's not the one. It's been 2 years at the club, poor performance, 95 million. It's not his fault with his wages and 250 a week. But, Ahmad has been showing and Ganache has been showing that there is less wages, under 50,000, that what they produce is far much better than Anthony, right? Or you play Anthony as a wing back.
No chance, mate. You have to just get rid of him. It isn't possible to play Anthony as wing, but I think what's interesting is if you listen to Jason Wilcox's comments about from the Athletic this morning regarding Menu and Garnacho playing too many minutes at their age, I kind of agree with that
Yeah.
because what you don't want to do is burn them out. And if you want to
No.
take a comparison of somebody like Phil Foden, he was a backup for like 2 3 years before he came through. He couldn't get into the team. Only last year he came in properly. But I think from an outgoing aspect, um, we need the manager situation resolved first. And from
Yeah,
an
true.
incoming
True.
aspect,
Yeah. Let
players are
me just
going to want to know who they're playing for.
something was struck my mind regarding Anthony. I kind of changed my mind. Depends on how we play, what kind of system we're going to play. Because at Ajax, his output performance was amazing, right? His crosses, everything. Here, he's been more focused on defensive duties, right? So if you're going to play, like, let's say if you play a Frimpong, let's say as a wing back and overlapping with Anthony, it's going to be lethal. You catch
The
my
thing
drift there?
is, um, the thing is, the different leagues are very. So, for example, I've just seen the comments. There's somebody saying that Sancho in a good team with good structure is amazing. What you've got to remember about the Bundesliga
Mentality.
is they play high lines. Number one, so there's a lot of space in behind, just like there was on Saturday because City played a high line. But most of the Premier League teams don't. And secondly, Sancho, when he came to Manchester United, wanted to play left wing. At Dortmund, he plays right wing. And thirdly, with all due respect to Germany, um, the quality of the leagues past the top five are not very good. So
Yeah.
you can't get a bit more time to look good. And it's very rare. I was looking at this the other day that a Bundesliga signing works really well. Bar Haaland and Gundogan, most of the ones don't really work out really well. Um,
Yeah. But
uh,
when you construct a team, it's not about just the ability of the players, the mental ability of the player as well. Like, let's face it, you got to have a team that, fights for each other, that never says die, right? And this is exactly what I think that Lucky Singh was saying. It's about mentality and fight, right?
you need look. I don't know, Mick, if you saw the Onana interview with Gary Neville. Have you seen that yet?
Yes.
Right. So what Onana was saying was,
He's a leader.
yeah, he was saying that in Italy, you'd get an extra 2 3 seconds to look up and play the ball out. He goes in the Premier League, it's so fast that within a second somebody's onto you. Their
Yeah.
striker is coming onto you. So he goes, when I look up, if I don't see a player making a run or spec, I have to go long. And he goes, secondly, players need to and want to fight for 50-50s. If you're going long, you have to. City do this really well. They go for the second ball.
Second
They
balls,
fight
yeah.
for the ball. With all due respect to Rashford and Sancho, they don't really fancy the second ball. If you look at the FA Cup final, when Rasmus Højlund comes on and
Yeah.
he starts fighting for the second ball, it causes problems.
Yeah, I agree with DK Wilson here as well. DK, and I've been saying that like Sancho in other leagues in the continent is a different prospect. Like he's got more time on the ball, but in the Premier League, he doesn't fit. Right? He gets found out. You see, how many games have you seen Sancho perform well? Of course, we have the Liverpool game. Yeah, I can't remember how
That was two
many.
years ago.
Yeah. So
The
it's all
thing
about
is,
mentality. Like okay, I made it to Manchester United. That's it. I'm getting paid 250 a week. That's it. Like I'm gonna just living the vida loca. So I think he's more suited for playing in the German league or down in continent like Italy or Spain, where you have more time on the ball and the trickery and being the show pony, right? You saw when Anthony came in, he's tried to do that pirouettes and the fidget spinning and stuff like that. That didn't work, right?
Mick, if you look at Rashford, if you put him in France, this guy will tear France, the league up, no problem, because of the space and the quality. Sancho looks really good in Germany because of the high lines and the lack of physicality at the lower teams and how they set
Yeah.
up. In the Premier League, just sorry, Mick, to add into this, in the Premier League, as you've seen this season, somebody like Crystal Palace, Sheffield United can turn a bigger team over. Burnley can do that as well. And you
Yeah,
don't
this
get
is
that abroad. So tactically, the teams are set up and physically and from a pace point of view. And Sancho struggles with the Premier League.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there 100% because in the Premier League it's the most competitive league. Even, you can't take things for granted. You're playing Burnley, you can lose points, and that's the thing. It's very competitive. It's not like they used to be. And they know how to get to you. As somebody was saying, play Sancho as a number 9, that would be perfect. I don't think so. Not even as a false number 9 because you need pressing. And I don't think that's his game, right? To press.
Yeah, and I think he needs to be moved on, in my opinion.
Yeah, he
And
will
I
be. He
wish
will
him
be
all the
moved on.
best. We don't need
Yeah.
these type of players. We need players that want to fight for their
We need
place.
team players.
Team players. I'm not. Amrabat is a prime example. Somebody that's not technically the best. He looks okay, but he puts a shift in. Work ethic is what we need. Attitude, implementation, and the rest will follow. Because otherwise, we've been there with these kind of more
We
glossier
saw
players.
something. We saw something in the FA Cup final. That was the team spirit winning it. Like the high fives, the back line sorted itself, and actually we won the game because of the back line as well. The centre back pairings, 100%, right? If you have a good centre back pairings, you don't leak a lot of goals. Yeah, but I
Mick,
would
if you
say
have a steady
I would
spine,
say that
if you
yeah, I
if
would
you have a steady spine, the team will be structured. But
yeah,
it Mick,
exactly exactly what I
the
was saying there because every champion winning team, what do they have in common? A solid spine defense. It's built on defense, the back line. Always. Every legendary team has a solid back line.
100%. But Mick, if your players are not willing to be physical, fight for 50-50s, put a
Yes,
shift in,
yes,
it's irrelevant of technical
yes.
ability,
And
body
that is
placing.
why I like Amrabat because he
I
takes
agree.
yellow cards and red cards and then pulls them down. He's been like that little dirty, I don't know, Palinha, like that dirty type of midfielder. Gets stuck
100.
in. No, we don't need the porcelain dolls.
I agree, Mick. I agree. I think, and that's what we should look at also. Mick, before we wrap this up, is there anything else you want to add into
Yeah,
this?
no, of
Any
course
other
I want to
comments
add
you
in.
want to take?
Of course I want to add in because this is kind of getting heated now. If you look at the wingers, for instance, the reason why I like Ahmad and Ganacho because they're fearless. They take on the fullbacks. The reason why I don't like Anthony is because he stops. He doesn't take them on, right? He tracks back instead. So if we're going to go forward, just take him on, right? Have a little bit swagger, have a little bit confidence. But what I wanted to say at the end of the day, it's all about team. No individual brilliance. This is about team performance. And the FA Cup was a team performance. If you look at 2016, when Leicester won the league with Ranieri, whatever his called name, you know, They didn't have star players, but they had a winning team mentality spirit. They were fighting for each other. And this is what we need to have.
Yeah, I agree, but I know there's a bit of a soft spot at the moment for Rashford, and he's great. And at the end of the day, he was pathetic. His
Yep.
performances this season, his attitude and his implementation has been pathetic. And if we are giving Rashford a pass, then we should also give Anthony a pass, because I don't agree with this. Just because Rashford's from a British player, he's all right. Look, at the end of the day, he was worse. Anthony hasn't got the skill set to do well in this league. So you can kind of think, oh fucking, at least he tries, right? At least he tries. He puts in a shift. He hasn't got the end product. Rashford does have the end product. Rashford does have the ability to beat these players. And but when he's faffing around throwing his hands in the end, he's been up the piss in Dublin. It's not a good look.
But the problem I have with Rashford, and I think rightfully so, that he was actually dropped by performance measures from the three lions as well, because it's about performance, it's your attitude. When people are saying you're not good enough, you're not working hard enough, that is the biggest insult you can give to a football player. If you look at his track record, every second season, you know, he scores 8 goals one season. The next year he scores 22 goals. Then the season after 5 goals, and it's a repetitive cycle. So there's no continuing, there's no consistency, and you got to ask, what's wrong with your mentality, mate? And I think it's good for him to take a break, mental break. Don't even play in the Euros. Figure out, isolate you from the people that surround you and whispering in your ears, and just focus on your football, because we know there's a good player in them.
I think it's best for him to move on, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think
Go and
so
try
too.
something else, a different league, a different environment, and we wish every United player goes and does well. Even Carlos Tevez, United player fans want him to do well. I
Yeah.
think for him, it's best if he moves on and tries
I
something else.
agree with you. I agree with you. But now I'm thinking like the club. Will they do it? If they receive an important offer, of course. But it's
I
down to
think they
him as
will.
well. If he wants to,
I think
yeah,
they will.
it's down to him and his agent, to advise if you want to stay or move, right? But the thing is, what we discussed yesterday, me and Jarvis, was to say that he's been heavily suffering from Luke Shaw not playing in this team either. It's been Luke Shaw absence, because that has been the partnership, right? Him and Luke Shaw on the left has always been working, like, the overlapping, the
Yeah,
underlapping.
but Mick, that's worrying as well. If your left back I can't perform, he needs to adapt his game. You
Yeah,
know,
you
not
need.
Wan Bissaka plays left back against Mohamed Salah,
I
and he
think he's
hasn't
been
got a left
found
foot, and
out.
he
I,
performs
I think
well.
he's been found out. He's been found out, right? If you look at
Yeah,
Garnacho, if you look at Arma, they are very unpredictable what they're going to do. Like, they go left or right, drive the byline. He doesn't do that anymore. All he does
no.
is cuts in, try to take
And
on
what I
three,
mean is,
try to
you
take
have
on
to.
three defenders, and just crash right into the wall and loses the ball.
Wayne Rooney played multiple positions, right? De
Hmm.
Bruyne plays multiple positions. Rashford can't play his position if Shaw doesn't play. That's rubbish. Wan Bissaka doesn't have a left foot and plays against Mohamed Salah in the FA Cup at Old Trafford and marks him out of the game. So
Yeah,
this, I don't agree with, like, he needs Shaw. That's rubbish. He needs to
yeah,
go
but
and play in a league
but
where
if he's injured, if he's playing through the pain barrier, like DK Wilson is saying, take this summer, heal yourself, don't play football. Just focus on your
Mick,
career.
he's
No matter,
playing.
well, listen,
He's
listen. Can I
playing.
just finish my line? No matter if you're going to play for United or not, you need to heal, and you need to get your mentality straight. And that's what I'm saying. We're not here to slag Rashford because he's a good player, right? He's a good player, but he
You
needs
know,
consistency, and he
yeah,
needs to focus on his football, not the off the field antics. And this is what
absolutely.
people are judging on him. Sorry, man.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I agree with you on that point totally.
It's heated,
Um,
right? I know.
yeah, somebody saying De Bruyne doesn't play multiple positions. De Bruyne does. He also plays false nine as well, and sometimes he plays right wing.
Yeah.
Um, so, but look, De Bruyne was just an example. Multiple play. One Bissaka plays multiple, has played out of position. So this argument that Sancho, Rashford needs Shaw, and the second part, what Mick said, which I want to just add into, is your players need to be able to work hard. If you're injured, you're still match fit. You might be carrying a niggle or something. It doesn't stop you from tracking back, helping you play you helping your fullback out. But look, we've covered Sancho all season, and I don't think there's anything else we can add into that's not been said already. Make final words from you then before we wrap this up.
Yeah, just whoever we're recruiting has to be right mentality. There's got to be athletes, ballers. We need to look at energy, because we've been overrun in all departments. So the way forward is to assess the whole squad, and the proof would be in the pudding. So back to you, Ineos, because right now it's been a lot of positives and negative connotations and PR. And we fans, we deserve the answer. We deserve to understand what is the plan in the summer. Yeah, but I guess we will find out come August what it will be, right? So,
Absolutely, absolutely. So just to
but
look,
at the end of the day, I have no player sentiment, right? The most important thing for me is to get, back the manager, back the fans, to get rid of the players that don't fit the club, you know, because if you put on the Manchester United jersey, you work your socks off. The minute you put on that jersey, you work your socks off. The game is 90 minutes, 95 with extra time, 98 sometimes, but never say die.
absolutely, and no one's bigger than the club.
Yeah,
Whoever the
true.
manager is, we shall back him. Whoever the players are that are on the pitch, we should back him. All we ask the players is to put in a shift and show the right attitude. Before we finish this off, make sure you drop us a subscribe to my channel, Mix channel. Drop a comment. Some great content coming out. Sorry, mate. Do you want to add something in?
Yeah, I have one question for you before you
Yeah,
close.
fire.
What is your expectation?
For what, the season or
Yeah,
next
in the
season? Or
summer, what do you expect?
I expect at
You
least.
asked me, but I not need to ask you,
Yeah,
mate.
so my expectation is pretty straightforward. I think a lot of players will leave that need to leave. I think unfashionable, unsexy signings will be made, which are needed
Yeah.
to build a squad. And I think, my honest opinion, I think Ten Hag will not be the manager. And whoever they go with, I think we'll all back him. If Ten Hag is the manager, in which I very doubt, but we'll back him also.
Hmm. Okay, fair play.
Fab.
Interesting. We had a really good 12 rounds of gloves were
Yeah,
off
we
here, man.
did. We
I
did.
love
We did.
having conversations with you, man. Seriously.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mick, for your time. And guys,
You're
we'll be
welcome.
back very soon.
Everyone in the VR room, thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. We didn't get much time to sort of engage with you because I think we were so busy, like, punching each other. Anyways, excellent, Bilal, as per usual.
Thank you.
And at the end of the day, Bilal, it's Forza United. We will see, as what you say always, the proof will be in the pudding until it's eaten. So,
Correct.
summer
Thank
expectation. Ineos, you hold the answers. Please let us know very soon.